we're going to make a molé rojo, just red molé. There are two sort of experts in the field of Mexican cooking from Oaxaca, in moles in particular, Rick Bayless and Diana Kennedy. And this is kind of adapted loosely from the Rick Bayless version of mole rojo. Diana Kennedy's version is quite a bit different, and we probably will make that someday because, you know, we can. And it's interesting. So the chilies in this one are 5 pasillas. And I'm doing a little substitution here. So I've got 6 anchos, and these anchos are really a little small. There's only one normal size one in the bunch, but I'm using them. And 3 guajillos. And guajillo is the one that's most commonly used as a substitute for any other kind of chili.
Excuse me.
And we were going to use 3 tomatillos, which I've already peeled and washed, 5 garlic cloves, which I've already peeled, 1/2 cup of almonds, 1/2 cup of raisins.
Must be those peppers already.
I haven't even started cooking
I
the
know.
peppers.
Okay, sorry.
I got 2/3 of a cup of sesame seeds. We'll put most of them in the mole, use some for garnish, I'm sure. I've got 1.5 ounces of baking chocolate, 2 Star Anise, which I'm going to put in my spice grinder and grind up, 2 Moritas, little dried chipotles. We're going to use a little cinnamon, some cloves, some peppers, salt, sugar, 6 cups of turkey broth that we just made, and I'm going to use bacon grease probably for the fat. You know, we don't have lard, we don't use lard. We use things like bacon grease, and my other choice is duck fat. So either one will work really well. So I'm going to get started taking the seeds out of these peppers, and then we can get to making our mole. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is put our tomatillos under the broiler. 5 minutes on the side, and they should be pretty thoroughly cooked by then, or at least turn into a sloppy mess. That's what we're expecting. So here we go, under the broiler.
Timer is important, not something you want to forget about.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we'll come back when those are done, and we'll move on to the next part. Okay, so here's our first 5 minutes. Haven't really, no visible change to these guys.
Juice leaked out.
Yep.
You don't cut them or anything, huh?
Nope. Okay. So these are starting to blacken on this side. I was thinking I was going to have to raise the rack up, but I'm going to turn them back over again and see if I can get the other side to really blacken a bit. That's what we're after here. So I kind of got the color I was after here. They're definitely cooked squishy. There's juice all over. I'm going to put this in a bowl, and we're going to add some more ingredients to that bowl in just a bit. All right, so I have a 1/2 cup of bacon grease in this pan, and you could use lard, duck fat. You can use just oil. You don't have any of these other things. And I have cut up or torn up my chilies, and I'm going to take just a few of them. The Moritas don't need anything, they can just go in whole. But I'm going to take a few of these, and I'm going to cook them in this oil, moving them around quite a bit, and they only need to be in here for about 30 seconds. You really do not want to burn these. But they'll, you should see, you may see some bubbles in the skins. It's a thing. This is one of the ways of getting chilies to sweat out some of their sugars and bring a lot of flavor to the forefront. So then, I guess we don't want to take too much of this oil with us because we're going to need it. but some is inevitable. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get all the way through the chilies, and we'll see what we've got. All right, so I'm coming out with the last of the peppers, and then we are going to put our garlic and our almonds right into this same hot oil and cook them for 5 minutes.
That's some nice garlic.
Yeah. Good farmer's market garlic. And I just wish we had a level stove so the oil would stay where it belongs, but there we go. I'm going to cook this for 3 minutes and then turn it over. More. Wait, there's more. We need to cover these peppers with hot water. And I didn't have the forethought to get the water hot first. So we're going to cover them and soak them for 30 minutes. Okay, so you can see, these have definitely darkened nicely. We're just going to throw them in with the tomatillos. And then we are going to throw our raisins in here. They only need about 30 seconds or so. They're going to puff up a little bit, and this is really rehydrating for raisins to do this. They just puff right up.
Oh, I can see them moving.
Yeah. It's all magic. Oh yeah. Okay. So out these come, and we're gonna set this pan aside at this point. And we'll add our spices to our bowl here while we wait for the chilies. Whew. So the next step, I've got a dry skillet here. I've got it warmed up a bit, and I'm going to toast these sesame seeds. Kind of have to stir this one quite a bit to keep from burning them. And this will take a little while. It's I'm gonna say about 3 to 5 minutes to get a little color on these. So you can see we're getting a little brown on this now, and it looks pretty good. Before any of these burn, I'm gonna go into the bowl. And we're going to put we're going to put most of this in here and reserve a little bit of it for garnish and whatever. So the next step is to go into here with our spices. We are going to use a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon. So it's true of all these moles. There's so many other flavors that the spices, there's just a very small amount of these that just kind of help round out the flavor nicely. I'm going to use a quarter teaspoon, a scant quarter teaspoon of cloves, black pepper, my 2 Star Anise, which I've ground, and in they go, and 1.5 ounces of chocolate. This is baking chocolate, no sugar added. And this recipe also uses toast, a piece of bread that's been toasted fairly dark. And we are using gluten-free bread, which is pretty much inedible in its normal form, but like this, for something like this, it seems like it's going to work great. And it makes decent croutons.
And we made stuffing with it recently, and that worked okay.
Yeah, that worked okay. We didn't.
It wasn't the best, but
didn't try the stuffing waffle.
No.
Okay, now I need to come up with 2 cups of liquid to put in here, and I'm going to use some of my turkey broth. You know, you can use chicken broth. You could even just use water, but I think this is a chance to put more flavor into this, so use broth. You can also wait and use your chili soaking water, but we'll come back when I've got some broth defrosted. All right, so we're going to go into our bowl with 2 cups of turkey broth, and then stir this all together.
I didn't touch it, so let her in the...
Here it is. Stir it all together, and it's ready to serve. Oh no.
You're so funny.
All right, so this is going to soak into that bread, everything. We're going to blend this up eventually, but we've got a few more things to take care of before that. All right, so we're getting to the messy part of this. So I've changed my shirt. A good thing about cooking in tie-dye is you can spill stuff on it and never see it. So I have strained the water, or strained the dried peppers and kept the water. I've got about 6 cups of water here, which is perfect for this job. I'm going to throw these, half of them, in here. And then in the blender. And then I'm going to take half of this water, about 3 cups or so. This isn't rocket scientists. And I am going to zoop this up until it's as smooth as I can get it. And I won't make you listen to the blender. All right, so I've got this pretty smooth. I am going to go into my strainer and prepare to push this through into my bowl. And I'm going to do the same with the other half of the chilies, and then get it all pushed through there. And I don't think I'm going to have to use all this water. Although we may find that it definitely pushes through easier if there's more water involved. All right, so now we push this through the strainer. I like to use the rubber spatula because it has the flexibility so I can really push on this stuff and get it to go through. And this is a process. It takes a little while, but it is so worth it. You get this beautiful smooth sauce. It's just worth it. It doesn't take that long. Okay, so I've gotten through both blenderfuls, and I think that I've left a little bit too much behind here.
I'm gonna work on this side.
I know, but I don't want to lose everything that's
know.
on it. Well, I'm just gonna have to put it. There we go. This is what I've left behind, and I think that's a little bit too much, so I'm going to put it back in the blender, and I'm going to add more of my soaking water, and just blend this up again and push it through the strainer again, and that'll reduce the pile of waste. All right, so our pile of stuff is reduced to just a little bit, and this can just go straight into the compost. Attractive. And then a lot of what you push it through is always stuck to the bottom of the strainer, so we'll scrape that off.
Just getting your arm.
Yeah. There we go. There is our chili sludge. So now we go back to our soup pot. I added another 1/4 cup of bacon grease because it just didn't look like there was enough left in there. And I'm going to go in with my chili slurry, and this should start boiling right away. If the oil's hot enough, this should all just keep boiling. And I'm gonna have to get my rubber spatula.
Where did we say it was?
Right behind you.
Oh.
So we're gonna stir this frequently, and we're gonna cook this for 30 minutes, I believe. 20 to 30 minutes. And we should see it thicken, and we should see it darken. And
you're gonna put the lid on it?
we're gonna put the lid on it. So I do want to mention that at this point, you don't have to clean the blender or the strainer, because we're just coming right back to them. So this is going to sit here and simmer away and thicken a little bit, and it will turn darker as well. And then, while we are letting that cook, we are going to take our tomatillo stuff with all the other flavors in it.
Fruits.
Fruits and nuts, yep. And we're going to put the thing in the blender. And I think I can do this in one swell swoop. And you see any chili that was left in the blender will be just fine. Won't hurt a thing.
You're not gonna strain this one, right?
I am going to strain.
Oh, you
this.
do? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Double the fun.
And if anybody's wondering, this does require an awful lot of dishes. So get your dishwashing person handy.
Okay. Let's see, not that bowl, but we're going to strain back into that bowl. Okay, here we go. All right, so the sesame seeds broke up pretty well. This is about as blended as it's going to get, I think. And this looks a little more difficult to push through here, but I've seen worse. Oops.
Hold on to it.
So now, I have to set that down. I'm going to put the last of my chili soaking water. Now at this point, I'm just trying to clean out the blender. So if you could use this, you could use a scraper, you could add some chicken stock, whatever you want to get the last little bit out of the blender. And a little extra liquid will help this process over here too. Okay, so now you do have to wash the blender because you're done with it. Okay. Back to this. It's kind of full this time. All right, so we've reduced a little. This is pretty thick. I think it looks pretty good. We're going to add our tomatillo and flavorful stuff. And then we're going to cook this down for a good 20 minutes. Just looks like, you know, chocolate and caramel or melted ice cream or something.
Yeah, it reminded me of chocolate milk.
Slippery bowl. Okay. So we'll stir this and then we're going to cook this, and it will darken considerably when it cooks here. And we will still have chicken broth left to add to this. So this is going to, we're hoping that this will thicken a little bit before we do that. And you have to keep it covered because this is just the kind of thing that likes to splatter. And I'm going to turn it up so that it will reduce. And there we go.
And how long is that cooking?
20 minutes.
20 minutes.
Can you see in there? Okay, so look, it's nice and thick, almost gelatinous. The next step in this is to add the rest of our broth. And I think this looks appropriate. We've used, you know, quite a bit of our 6 cups of broth already, but I don't know if I'd really want to put much more than this in here at this point, but it's really, yeah, see, this is still a really nice saucy consistency. And we are going to cook this on low heat for 2 hours. And at which time we are going to have our mole. Okay, so our sauce has been cooking along for hours here. It's really a nice thickness. Look how it coats a spoon. Mm-hmm. I'm going to taste it, and we still have some ingredients we haven't added yet. Oh my gosh. Okay, that is a deep sauce.
Now our dishwasher decides to drain.
So we're going to add some salt. And I'm going to give this 1.5 teaspoons. I don't think it really...
To taste?
Yeah, salt to taste is the thing. And I think it needs a lot of salt. And now I need another tasting spoon. Okay, plenty of salt. So now we're going to add at least 1 tablespoon of white sugar. Let's go with 1.5 tablespoons. I'd really like to experiment with other sweeteners for this, but
Like honey or
agave.
your favorite maple syrup. Well, agave would be appropriate.
Yeah, wouldn't it? Mm-hmm. I mean, what did they do before they had white sugar? Mexico did a lot of trade with China and the Orient. It happened very early on in the history, and so they may have had access to sugar cane. All right, so now this is our mole. That's really, really good. It's just this deep, bone deep sort of sauce. It's really great. So there you have it. This is mole rojo.
What are you going to do with it now, though?
Red mole. For tonight's dinner, we're going to take some of our shredded turkey, and we're going to...
No, I'm just trying to get away from the dishwasher draining.
Yeah.
Ah!
We got a brand new dishwasher. It's on its very first run.
Maiden voyage.
And a fairly new sink, and when the dishwasher drains, it's a metal sink, so you hear it.
Okay, back to the mole.
So mole rojo. Oh,
We're going to have it with some turkey.
Tonight we're going to take some of the shredded turkey and just add some of the mole to it. We're going to probably freeze some, or I have another thing in mind, so we'll see. This would be really good to cook a chicken.
I'm thinking about a chuck roast.
Thighs.
Like a chuck roast would be good too in the slow cooker.
Yeah, so slow cooker, beef shanks. That'd be good. So anyway, thanks for watching Two Cooks in the Kitchen, and we'll see you next time.